back. Well, an internal State Department cable, a memo from back in July warning the collapse of Kabul was imminent, urging the administration to speed up evacuations. This letter was sent to the State Department and Anthony Blinken. Meanwhile, the State Department is under fire over this report saying that it would bill citizens $2,000 or more for evacuation flights. Officials saying that the plan has been scrapped. Joining me right now is Illinois Congressman, House Intelligence Committee member, and House Ways and Means Committee member Darren LaHood. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. I can't get my head around this. This is incredible that the administration wanted to charge people $2,000 to get on a flight to get out of Afghanistan. Meanwhile, we've got wide open borders, and we know for a fact that these migrants are getting processed and then being put on planes to wherever they say they have family, and they're not paying for it. How do you square this?
Well, first of all, Maria, thanks for having me on. This whole debacle has been an abject failure in leadership by the Biden administration. You think what I think about when I think about what's happened over the last week. It's humiliating, it's embarrassing, it's disheartening, it's demoralizing to our men and women that fought so hard over the last 20 years. But, there's been a lot of criticism in the past about President Trump and what he did to our NATO allies. What we did in the last week to our NATO allies, is again terrible in terms of our reputation in the world. We look weak, and this didn't have to happen under this administration. And I also worry, Maria, about our allies. What does Taiwan think right now? Are we going to have their back? What does Ukraine think? What does Israel think? And this didn't have to happen. And this is not who we are as Americans. And so, unfortunately, President Biden and his team continue to deny. They have blame shift. They continue to blame shift the blame to other people. They're evasive on this. They need to own up to this, and we need to change direction here quickly.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, this is a theme that I was hitting all day yesterday, and that is about the greatest danger to global stability is when America comes to be seen as harmless as an enemy and treacherous as a friend, which is what Larry Lindsey wrote about yesterday, that our credibility on the world stage has declined significantly. And by the way, Biden ignored Boris Johnson's calls for 36 hours. The Prime Minister of the UK was trying to get in touch with him, and he couldn't get him on the phone as the Afghanistan chaos was deepening. Let me ask you this, Congressman. I want to get to James Freeman in a moment, but knowing what we know at this point, do you believe that this crisis, this wrong-headed decision-making around Afghanistan will blow up the Biden administration's economic agenda? A week ago, we were talking about your colleagues in the Senate agreeing to a infrastructure plan and then opening the door to a $3.5 trillion spending and tax bonanza, which is really $5.5 trillion. Do you think that is going to get sidelined because of all of this?
Well, I think it's too early to know at this point, Maria. I mean, listen, I hope that this $3.5 trillion bill that the Democrats, their kind of wish list, their Christmas tree of socialist agenda items, I hope it does get sidelined. But there is going to be a lot of focus on Afghanistan, and there should be. And there's bipartisan criticism, and there should be. And so we'll have to wait and see what happens on that. But people need to be held accountable. I don't know why yet people in the National Security Council haven't been fired by the Biden administration. People need to be held accountable. To think that this is just going to go away as we come up on the anniversary of 9/11. And the fact that, here we are 20 years later and the Taliban are back in charge. And by the way, Maria, these people are the worst terrorists. These are people that chop off the heads of people. They kill and rape women. They have massive operations in heroin and opiates. And to think that everything's going to be just fine, as many in the Biden administration are now saying as we transition, is ridiculous. We are begging the Taliban not to attack our troops and to keep the airport open. This is not the position we should be in as Americans. And again, I think this is going to dominate a lot of what we look at in Congress, and we should.
Yeah. So as the Wall Street Journal op-ed writers wrote the other day, the U.S. is hostage to the Taliban. I mean, pretty much. How can you see it any differently? We're afraid to even transport people from where they are in hiding to the airport. We're hostage to the Taliban.
That's exactly right, Maria. We are begging the Taliban. We are negotiating with people that, again, have no track record of abiding by any rules, any standards, anything. And again, we look weak. And you look at our adversaries, Russia and China, they're recognizing the Taliban. Yeah. They're rubbing it in our face. And as we come up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, what do we tell people what we've done over the last 20 years? And again, wait till the propaganda machine of the Taliban ramps up. They're going to ramp up their propaganda, rub it in our face. And the last point that I'll make is it's absolutely ridiculous that the spokesman the spokesman for the Taliban has a Twitter account, but they got rid of President Trump's Twitter account. I mean, what does that say?
I know. It's disgusting, really.